I want to do a recap on a very particular deal that happened where we ended up acquiring and flipping 120 apartments in, guess what, 45 days. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Fahd Dawood. I talk about real estate, Dubai internationally, your life and my life, and our path to financial bliss. Look, I want to do a recap on a very particular deal that happened where we ended up acquiring and flipping 120 apartments in, guess what, 45 days. 120 apartments in 45 days. Obviously the investors made a lot of money. A lot of parties ended up winning in this deal. This behind me is the project where we actually ended up doing this. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to recap the entire transaction in phases. Okay, so I'm going to discuss the location where we are right now. I'm going to describe the location and give you more details on the project, the entire master development rather. This project I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about what the developer did very specifically that put them in that position, that made them be our ideal partners, and then how we went about selling 120 apartments in 45 days. And a few words from my mentor, the innovator, the person who actually came up with the entire transaction. What he thinks can happen today in terms of the trends that will make sense for you to be able to make money. Because I'll tell you right off the bat, what we did here with 120 apartments in 45 days, you might not be able to do that today, but I want to share that because what it does, it expands your horizon and gets you thinking along the lines where you can play with the big boys and make big money. Okay, so just give you a quick recap and I'll give you a tour right after this of this entire master development. The place I'm standing in is called Dubai Silicon Oasis. This is a 99-year leasehold area. Essentially it was launched like that out of all the areas, 40 plus areas in Dubai, which are freehold, which means that you as an expat or a national of any country can literally buy property in Dubai. You don't even have to be present here, you just have to have a passport and over a certain age, minimum age. Out of all the freehold areas of Dubai, there's a few that are leasehold, and the leases run from 30, 60 to 90 or 90 plus years. Dubai Silicon Oasis is one such location. Okay, it's a leasehold area, and the entire concept behind Dubai Silicon Oasis was to build this place like the Silicon Valley of the Middle East. The entire idea when this place was conceptualized, conceived and launched was that they would attract tech companies from all over the world, startups otherwise, to build the Dubai, it was supposed to be like an incubator for tech companies. Okay, that I'm not sure if it really took off because the real estate boom of the 2003 to 2007 was so hot that Dubai Silicon Oasis couldn't escape the real estate boom either, right? So essentially the place is leasehold, it's 99 years. It was supposed to be this great technology hub of the Middle East. It's still getting there, maybe it'll take a few years, but ended up being this whole real estate magnet for developers from all over the world to come over here and buy land and then sell it, because this entire master development has like hundreds of pieces of land. Now what ended up happening back in, let's say 2004, 5, 6, you should watch one of my other videos about the pre-crisis era. Essentially, if you had land in Dubai, you could launch any project and you could sell it. So even though Dubai Silicon Oasis is leasehold, it was very attractive for developers from all over the world to come and purchase land because they could then sell apartments over here, essentially speaking, right? The place in terms of location is, I'm not going to say it's prime, but it's still central because it's very close to the older areas of Dubai. In terms of location, it's quite close to Sharjah, and there's a lot of people who've arrived to the UAE or Dubai 30, 40, 50 years ago and have established businesses not in Dubai, not in Abu Dhabi, but rather in Sharjah, right? And Sharjah is, you might not know this, but it's the third largest emirate in the United Emirates in terms of business activity. It's a thriving emirate, and a lot of people run businesses in Sharjah, but they live in Dubai, and vice versa. So the location is pretty hot in terms of it services Sharjah. It's only about 10 to 15 minutes away from here. And then the older parts of Dubai called Fahd Dubai and Dera, which have multi-million-dollar businesses still operating from that place. Still people who don't want to move their businesses out of that old hub of Dubai. That place again gets serviced very well from here. Now, what ended up happening is, as I said, parcels of land got acquired because developers wanted to resell them. But 2008, 2009 saw a real dramatic shift, right? So 2008 was the global financial crisis. Everybody knows about it. But this particular developer, they've got lots of land in the area, ended up delivering and developing what they had committed. Now, obviously, they probably consolidated. If they had launched 20 projects, they probably end up maybe delivering 12, and they asked people to consolidate their apartments in a few. But to the developers' credit, kudos to them, they ended up delivering a lot. So they kept building in 2009, 10, 11, and 12. Obviously, the apartments that get delivered aren't up to the same quality, but still, delivering them still carries a lot of weight. And what ended up happening is when they finished this building behind me, they ended up putting a lot of hotel staff, just renting it out to people, etc., waiting for the market to turn again so that they could start making money. Now, here's the developer's dilemma, okay? They're sitting in all this ready inventory, but they've got so they're a developer, they'd have no reason to hold on to this inventory. But because the market was so bad, they ended up renting the apartments out, right? I'm talking about 2011, 12, part of 13. But they've got this entire huge land bank where they need to be now starting to develop. And why 2012-13 was crucial to start developing again is very simple. Essentially speaking, that's when the market started picking up.
Okay, let me give you an apartment tour.
Okay, so let me give you a quick tour of the apartment. It's a standard one bedroom, right? So you've got the kitchenette, had the door on it, like standard kitchen, nothing very spectacular. And then it had this open area, right? So essentially you're coming into the living room area, and you could close this down to have a closed kitchen. And I'm going to just quickly show you the living room balcony. For instance, this one overlooks the pool. The pool's been emptied out because of Corona, but you can see all these buildings around this place actually didn't exist when we were selling these apartments, okay? It's got a standard one bathroom for the guests, another one which is a full bathroom, and then this comes in with built-in wardrobes and a full room, okay? Sorry, the room's really dirty because this is how they run in Dubai, right? They don't clean up, okay? Again, overlooking the swimming pool. I'll be honest with you, this apartment would have probably sold at a premium because it overlooked the pool, which was kind of like a water body. So any apartment that overlooks the water is going to end up getting you a little bit of extra money. This is one of the larger one bedrooms because it's got this entire corridor area as well. I sat across one of my mentors, the major investor in this project, right? He's worth over $100 million. I asked him, how did you decide to start investing in 2012, 2013? He essentially said, look, Fahd, I had my finger on the pulse of the market. And this is what you need to do. You have to have your finger on the pulse of the market, or have somebody else who's an expert and always in the market day to day representing you. And essentially he said, he owns some big companies in older areas of Dubai, and he said every time I'm talking to my employees, they're telling me that rents are going up. It's very difficult to get apartments in the same rent that we could get in 1 month ago. And you know, he can't increase salaries for them, so he was looking for new accommodation for them. And he's feeling that the landlords were getting difficult, which told him that the economy was on the verge of improving, right? So he said, look, it just made sense to go in. Same thing with the developer. They wanted to free up the cash so that they could start investing in other projects and start selling them, because when the market's hot, that's when you start selling big time, right? Essentially, you should be acquiring assets when the markets are slow, right? And people are fearful, and be selling them when the market's hot. So the developer had this extreme urgent need for cash. This is the problem that we addressed. We stepped in and we essentially said to the developer, look, we'll acquire or we'll get on board to sell 120 apartments, but these are our terms and conditions. And the terms and conditions that we got in, we innovated at that time. We were, I think, the first ones who came to the market with this, that pay only 30, or I believe it was 35%. I think it was 30%. You can own a fully ready one-bedroom apartment in Dubai Silicon Oasis by paying 30%. The balance you can pay over 3 years, right? 3 years that you can collect enough rent. You can, put in money from the business that's coming in, from your employment, from your salary that's coming in. Essentially speaking, this was so hot that the sales, essentially we took out a full-page Gulf News ad, and before this we had to go and convince people to buy. This was essentially like order taking. People were just coming in, taking quick orders, deciding on which apartment they wanted, and boom, it was gone, right? That's how we sold 120 apartments within 45 days. Can you do the same thing today? I spoke to my investor, the mastermind behind the transaction, back in 2013-14. Essentially, this is what he said. Look, Fahd, the fundamentals remain the same. Supply, demand. Somebody, even in today's market, is going to be in a position where they need cash, or they need a barter perhaps for their land or for their property. What you need to do is identify that problem and then go in there and solve it for them. For this developers, what did we do? We gave them a cash infusion, allowed them to sell using our large team of almost like 70 agents and our connections to the market, right? The same thing applies today, but the trends are changing, right? Just simply buying and flipping an apartment is not going to work. What you're going to probably have to do is understand a little bit how the market's operating, and then get involved with somebody who's an expert, got his finger on the pulse of the market, and then understand how to structure the transaction going forward. That's essentially my message. Look, sharing the information on the deal wasn't about, hey, you can come into the market with me and I'll get you a similar deal. That wasn't the point of the video. The point of the video was for you to understand that there are opportunities, whether the market's going up or down. It doesn't really matter where you are, but the deals are there in the market. You need to be able to come into the market with an expert guiding hand and understand how you're going to be able to make money, provided you're ready to take the risk. Look, hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon. If you want to reach out to me, my WhatsApp number is in the description, or my email address, or in the comment section. I love to help and give general advice on my YouTube channel. For anything specific, you're welcome to reach out to me. Talk to you soon. See you on the flip side. Bye for now.